Unveiling the intriguing tale.
Chapter 1 to 5.
I lift the gold goblet to my lips. Meanwhile, I watch the show of exposed skin through the bars gaps. The lighting is dim and deliberate. Flames crackling over alluring forms moving in sync. 7 bodies collaborating for a singular release. While I remain here, apart, playing the role of a spectator. The king summoned me a few hours ago, as he engaged intimately with his rotating group of concubines referred to as his royal saddles. Tonight, he chose to indulge in the atrium. Perhaps due to its acoustics, to his credit, the moans resound beautifully. Yes, my king, yes, yes, the skin around my eyes tightens. And I hastily sip more wine, averting my gaze to the night sky. The atrium, massive and encased in glass windows, offers the best view in the palace. That is, when the snowfall ceases long enough. At the moment, a customary snowstorm rages. Flakes drift down, promising to cover the panes by morning. Yet, I can glimpse a faint star above. Hidden amidst the clouds and white, the snowstorm stands as a barrier, denying me the sight. Nonetheless, I'm grateful for even this fleeting view. I ponder whether this atrium was constructed by past monarchs to observe the stars and decipher celestial tales, but nature likely interfered, obstructing the view with mocking clouds. Or perhaps ancient royals built this chamber to witness the glass frosting over and blizzards swirling while they remained insulated from the cold. Orean royals possess sufficient arrogance for such gestures. For instance, the king, engrossed in his activities, serves as evidence. My gaze shifts to the king, deeply engrossed in his current endeavor with one of his saddles. Perhaps I'm mistaken. Possibly this space wasn't designed for us to gaze upwards, but for the gods to peer downwards. Maybe those past royals brought their concubines here as visual offerings for the heavens, embracing the debauchery. Given the tales I've encountered, it's not unreasonable to think the gods are lustful beings. I withhold judgment, acknowledging the prowess of the royal saddles. Despite the current circumstance, forcing me to witness their lewd actions, and despite the dome often being obscured by snow, I still find solace in this place. It's my closest connection to the outdoors, to feeling the wind against my face and breathing fresh air. The silver lining. I never have to worry about my skin being chapped by the wind, or suffering from cold-induced shivers. The ongoing snowstorm certainly looks cold. I strive to maintain a positive outlook. Even within my own person-sized birdcage, a pretty prison for a precious relic. Oh, divine, one of the saddles Elara, I believe, exclaims with ecstasy, pulling me from my contemplations. Her voice carries a husky quality, and her blonde hair enhances her effortless beauty. I shift my focus back to the spectacle, unable to resist its allure. 6 saddles vie for attention, a fitting number as the king rules over the 6th kingdom of Orea. His fixation on the number 6 is evident, whether in the buttons on his shirts, the spires of his crown, or, currently, the saddles he's engaged with. 5 women and 1 man cater to his desires, and a bed has been provided for his comfort during this indulgence. I acknowledge the effort it takes to move and reassemble the large bed, navigating 3 flights of stairs, only to dismantle it again later. Nevertheless, such concerns lie beyond my control. As the king's favored, I am confined within my gilded cage. Despite my current disapproval of the term, I prefer to be known as the king's favored. It carries a more pleasant connotation, even though its meaning remains unchanged. I prop my feet onto the bars before me, sinking into the plush cushions beneath. I observe the king's rhythmic motions as he engages with one of the women, while 2 others offer their bare breasts for his attention. Clearly, he has a. The weariness within me vanishes, Upon seeing Aurelius standing before me, all my attention is fixed on him, every nerve attuned to his presence. As Aurelius continues observing me, I take advantage of the moment to study the handsome contours of his smooth face, the resolute intensity of his eyes. The longer I gaze at him, the more forgiving I become for his bringing me here tonight. From making me a mere observer of a pleasure I had no part in, watching him indulge in his desires, Aurelius raises his hand, sliding his finger through the bars of my enclosure. "You're incredibly precious to me, Ilanda," he murmurs, his voice soft and tender. I freeze, feeling my breath catch in my chest like a sharp, rigid edge that heightens my awareness. He moves closer, his finger trailing down my cheek. The touch tingles on my skin, yet I remain perfectly still, fearful that even the slightest movement might cause him to withdraw. I desperately want to lean in, to touch him in return, but I restrain myself. Instead, I remain motionless, though my eagerness is evident in my golden eyes. "Did you find tonight's spectacle enjoyable?" he inquires, his fingers tracing the edge of my lip. I part my lips to respond, the warmth of his thumb against my breath sending shivers through me. "I would derive greater pleasure from active participation," I reply, carefully matching my words to the movement of his fingers against my mouth. Aurelius lifts his hand to play with a strand of my hair, watching it shimmer in the candlelight. "You know you hold a special place, distinct from the others," he assures me. I manage a tight smile. "Yes, my king." Aurelius taps my nose before retracting his hand from the cage. Despite my strong desire to move toward him, I maintain my composure, fighting the urge to bend and reach out. "You're not like the common companions who serve a daily purpose, Ilanda, you're far more valuable," he remarks, his tone heating up. It's intriguing how he can stir both intense desire and a sense of disappointment within me simultaneously. Despite the internal struggle, I find the strength to respond. However, the other companions harbor resentment, and the servants gossip. Wouldn't it be better to allow me some involvement, even if it's only in touching you? I question, a tinge of pathos in my voice. I yearn for him, but I'm conflicted. His brown eyes narrow at me, and I realize I've overstepped. My stomach tightens for a different reason now. I fear I've pushed him away. The charming facade fades, replaced by a cold, stern demeanor. "You are under my authority, my favored one," he lectures, causing me to avert my gaze to my toes. "I'm uninterested in the opinions of the servants and companions. You exist for my pleasure, and I'll decide how you're to be used." Regret fills me. "You're right. I apologize. I should have. Never." "Your thoughts are inconsequential," Aurelius interrupts sharply, his voice unusually stern. My breath catches at his reaction. "Do I not treat you well?" He continues, his voice filling the room. "Do I not provide you with every comfort?" "You do," I begin, but he cuts me off with vehemence. "There are people in the city living in misery, struggling for survival. You have the audacity to complain." His words strike me. I am reminded of the privilege I possess, of the horrors I've escaped. Aurelius saved me from a life of suffering and exploitation, and I shouldn't take that for granted. He quiets my protest. "You're mine to do with as I see fit. If I choose to keep you in this enclosure, it's my prerogative." I bow my head, chastened by his words. "You're right. I was wrong. You're not here to voice discontent," he asserts, a rare harshness in his tone. "I've shattered the levity between us. Do I not provide for you?" My lips tighten, and I shake my head, recognizing my ingratitude. "You do. I'm sorry." His demeanor softens, and he reaches out to touch my arm. "If I were capable, I'd purr like a contented cat. That's my cherished one," he murmurs, his touch soothing my troubled emotions. "The bond between us is unique, forged over years of shared experiences. I've known him before he was king, before his ascension to the throne. A decade has bound us in a way no one else comprehends. I apologize, I utter sincerely. It's all right, he replies, his fingers brushing over my wrist. You appear fatigued. Return to your chambers and rest. I'll summon you in the morning. Confusion creases my brow. In the morning? You usually call for me after sundown. He nods, turning to leave. King Aurelius is departing for Ranhold Castle tomorrow. A wave of relief washes over me. I've never been fond of King Aurelius. His unsettling infatuation with me has only intensified over time, however. His fixation indirectly leads to more attention from Aurelius. When Aurelius is present, Aurelius seems to shield me from him, a possessive impulse driving him to keep me for himself. Oh, I reply, comprehending the implications. Aurelius will likely want to see me before he departs. While Aurelius' alliance with Aurelius benefits both kingdoms, I hold a certain fascination for the king of the Fifth Kingdom. The unexpected attention only serves to remind me of my special status in Aurelius' court. Aurelius walks away, leaving me alone in the atrium. The expansive space feels cavernous, my gilded prison casting long shadows. I sigh, resenting the bars that confine me. While I have substantial freedom within my cage, I long for true autonomy. My personal rooms are lavish, but their opulence has lost its luster over time. Does it matter that my surroundings are lavish if I'm still restricted? I gaze at the glass ceiling, the stars above obscured by approaching clouds. A reminder of a childhood memory surfaces being led away from home in a chaotic night. My parents' voices calming me amidst the chaos. The memory is blurred. My parents' faces faded. Life had taken a tragic turn, stealing them from me. My gaze shifts to a lone star, which vanishes behind the clouds. Disappointment tugs at my heart. If the stars were goddesses, I wish they'd remain in their celestial light, sheltered from the darkness of life below. Tears gather in my eyes, blurring my vision. In the next moment, the star is concealed by thick clouds, causing a pang of longing. It's a fleeting sight, but it carries a memory of my mother's stories. Yet, memory is unreliable, diminishing over time. I sigh, lamenting the past, and lean against the cage's bars. My surroundings may be luxurious, but they can't erase the feeling of confinement. My eyes land on the golden bird in a cage nearby. A once living creature transformed into a rigid sculpture. It serves as a reminder of the transformation that time and circumstance can impose. Resigned, I lower my hand from the bars. I know I should focus on the positive aspects of my situation, but the yearning for freedom persists. Yet, I remain resolute, continuing to sing my own tune and cherish the moments of life I possess. After all, I'm not yet a statue. I'm still breathing, still feeling. In the morning, I'm awoken by the jarring sound of the bell. My head pounding, my eyelids open with effort as I clear away the blur. As I sit up, the wine bottle in my lap tumbles to the floor and rolls away. Two guards from the king's retinue are stationed on the other side of my cell. The cage occupies most of the space, allowing the guards to patrol the outer rooms during their rounds. I wipe away drool and stretch, waiting for the relentless ringing of the bell to cease. My head throbs from last night's alcohol binge. I mutter for the bell to stop and exchange glances with the guards. Thorn, the older guard with grey hair and a thick beard, is by the door, while a new guard speaks up. Despite my hangover, I'm intrigued by the new face. He looks young, maybe 17, with pockmarks on his face. He's likely a recent recruit. "What's your name?" I inquire, approaching the bars. He looks at me and adjusts his armor. proudly displaying the bell emblem on his chest plate. "Joke," he replies, but Thorn silences him. "Don't talk to her." Joke seems to ponder this restriction. "Why not?" "Because it's orders," Thorn states firmly. Joke shrugs, and I observe their interaction with curiosity. I wonder if he'd be up for one of my drinking games. Suddenly, Joke interrupts the tense atmosphere. "You think she has a gold cunt?" His directness catches me off guard. Talking about people's private parts right in front of them is rude, I retort, raising an eyebrow at him. Joke's comment reflects his ignorance. "But you're a saddle," he counters, his tone crude. "Your worth is in your body." His words anger me. Female saddles are valuable for more than that. We often have other qualities, I respond dryly. Joke doesn't seem to grasp my sarcasm, only appearing intrigued. Thorn intervenes, warning Joke about the consequences of disrespecting the king's favored. Joke's focus remains on me, undeterred. "She's quite an exquisite piece, if you ask me." Rumor has it that King Aurelius has a unique way of enhancing his favorites. Joke scratches his messy, mud-colored hair. "How do you think he does it?" Thorn dismisses the question, clearly annoyed. "It's not our concern how the king accomplishes his feats. Our duty is to guard this part of the castle." Joke remains fixated on me. "She's an intriguing puzzle, isn't she? I've heard tales about the king's golden touch." Thorn's patience wears thin. "Enough, boy. Focus on your duties and stop yapping." Joke reluctantly leaves to complete his rounds. I shake my head, remarking to Thorn about the younger guard's behavior. Thorn remains stoic, signaling that he takes his duty seriously. He advises me to get ready, prompting me to head towards the archway leading to the adjoining rooms. I proceed into my dressing room while Thorn waits outside. The room is dimly lit, with a single skylight covered in snow. I refill the lantern, brightening the room as I begin my morning routine. Today, King Aurelius plans to summon me, so I must prepare. I scan the racks of golden threaded gowns, settling on one with an empire waist and an open back. My dresses are always designed without backs due to my unique features. I have long golden ribbons that extend from my spine, allowing me to control them like limbs. They're my secret, concealed beneath the fabric. They're more than just ornamental, they're prehensile and strong. I dress, adjusting the ribbons to drape elegantly. I finish my hair, my ribbons weaving intricate braids. They're part of me, a result of my unusual magic. Unlike anything else in Orea, once dressed, I leave the room to a servant's announcement that King Aurelius has summoned the favored to the breakfast room. Thorn and I exchange words, and I joke about his lack of humor. Despite my banter, he remains solemn. I head to the breakfast room, walking through passageways and hallways. As I enter, I take my seat at a stool in front of my harp. King Aurelius acknowledges my presence, and his counterpart, King Aldaric, makes a crude comment. I pluck the harp strings, performing for the audience. Aurelius praises me, and Folk, a visiting king, crudely propositions me. I falter in my performance as I wait for Aurelius's response, fearing his wrath. To my astonishment, Aurelius appears to contemplate Folk's proposition. Absolutely not. There's no chance I can accept that my king is even thinking about handing me over to another man's use. I can't believe Aurelius would ever allow someone else to have me. He's far too possessive, loves me deeply, and cherishes me. This has been the case ever since he rode in and rescued me. However, the silence is making me increasingly anxious. So, what's your response? Folk insists. Name your terms. The mere sight of Aurelius's tilted head makes my stomach churn with bile. I'm utterly confused about what's going on. Finally, Aurelius raises his hand, gesturing around the opulent room, reminding folk of the extravagant surroundings. Everything is adorned with gold, walls, ceilings, floors, even the fireplace and portraits, gold everywhere. Perhaps you haven't noticed, but I have no need for payment. My wealth surpasses that of all 5 kingdoms combined, including yours. I'm the wealthiest person alive, thank goodness. Instead of taking offense, folk dismisses it with a wave. Money isn't what I mean. Tell me what you desire. I shift my gaze between them, feeling a throbbing headache intensify. It's as if a menacing drumbeat echoes in my temples, an impending sense of dread. How is this situation unfolding? Finally, Aurelius raises his hand, gesturing around the opulent room, reminding folk of the extravagant surroundings. Everything is adorned with gold, walls, ceilings, floors, even the fireplace and portraits, gold everywhere. Perhaps you haven't noticed, but I have no need for payment. My wealth surpasses that of all 5 kingdoms combined, including yours. I'm the wealthiest person alive, thank goodness. Instead of taking offense, folk dismisses it with a wave. Money isn't what I mean. Tell me what you desire. I shift my gaze between them, feeling a throbbing headache intensify. It's as if a menacing drumbeat echoes in my temples, an impending sense of dread. How is this situation unfolding? Slowly, I turn and walk back to the stall. My legs shake as I sit down, like a rock settling at the bottom of a pond, sediment billowing up, the depth of water keeping me oppressed from the sun. I feel detached from my body, as I see my bloodied hands lift up to the harp once more. The skin over the vein in my temple twitches, and my back goes ramrod straight, as if the hard lines of my shoulders can be a shield from piercing eyes. The song Shudder Serendipity falls from the notes unbidden. Each pluck of string is another incision that slices into more than just my skin, but into my heart. Every note is a lament, every movement a misery, every cadence a reverberating pang. Tiny drops of blood drip down the chords in sweet sacrifice. I play it for my king, my protector, my savior, for the man I've loved since I was just a 15-year-old girl. I play it, remembering the first time I learned it, when he so sweetly sang along to the pretty rhymes, his voice an accompaniment to the campfire and crickets. In time between times in dawnlight, we danced sipping from shine, your lips like romance. Another tear falls from my eye, the haunting sound of his voice a long ago memory, so far away. The man who promised to always keep me safe is giving me to another, and there's nothing I can do about it. King Alderic's original departure plan has been thwarted. He's now mobilized his army and partnered with Aurelius for a covert assault on the 4th kingdom. He's even anticipating a night with Aurelius's favored companion. As their armies approach each other, the anticipation of an imminent attack grows stronger. I grip a book in my lap, pretending to read, while secretly eavesdropping, seated like an ornamental fixture inside my cage in the library. I listen intently to the ongoing conversations. Both King Alderic and King Aurelius, along with their advisors, have spent the last 6 days strategizing and poring over maps for the forthcoming attack on the 4th kingdom. This move will shatter the peace pact binding the 6 kingdoms of Orea. King Alderic expresses concerns about the plan, fearing they might appear as the aggressors. However, Aurelius reassures him that other kingdoms share the desire to remove the despotic King Rot from power. Folk raises concerns about King Rot's formidable abilities and cruel nature. It becomes evident that Aurelius has meticulously orchestrated this attack for some time, possibly anticipating folk's involvement and using me as a lure. It dawns on me. that the breakfast invitation was orchestrated to bait me. Aldaric saw it as an opportunity to acquire not only me, but also control over Fourth Kingdom's resources. The focus then shifts to the significance of the Blackroot mines in their strategy. They discuss dividing the mines between them following their victory. Folk's interest in obtaining the northern portion of the mines is apparent. This revelation prompts me to question the mines' value and their role in the overall plan. Amidst these discussions, I accidentally hit Elara, one of Aldaric's companions, with a hefty book, causing a diversion. Despite her animosity towards me, I extend an offer to assist her. Meanwhile, I'm compelled to dance and entertain the kings as a replacement for the incapacitated dancer. Folk subjects me to taunts and threats, while Aurelius remains unperturbed by my discomfort. The unexpected arrival of Queen Serafini further exacerbates my predicament. In summary, King Aldaric's plans have undergone a transformation due to his alliance with Aurelius, leading to a secretive assault on the Fourth Kingdom. Through discreet observation and eavesdropping, I've gained insights into their strategy and motivations.
Please subscribe for the next chapter.